feels like AI is changing so fast these days, right?
It really does, yeah.
Keeping up with all the new stuff is a full-time job.
Definitely.
But that's kind of what we do here.
Exactly. We love diving into this stuff.
So today, we're going to look at a paper. It's called Janus, Decoupling Visual Encoding for Unified Multimodal Understanding and Generation.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
It is, but trust me, the concepts are really cool.
Oh, yeah, this deep dive is going to be fascinating. It really gets to the heart of where AI might be going.
The goal is to understand what's so special about this Janus AI without getting bogged down by the technical jargon.
Yeah, no jargon today.
So first things first, what exactly is this Janus thing?
So Janus is an AI model, and get this, it can understand images and text.
Okay, that's pretty standard these days, right?
Sure, but it can also generate images from text prompts.
Oh, interesting. All within one system.
All in one. It's a big step towards like a truly unified multimodal AI.
So it's not just understanding or generating, it's doing both, and they're like connected somehow.
Exactly, and that's a big deal. Like previous models, they really struggled to do both well.
Oh, how come?
They had to compromise, you know? They used the same mechanisms for understanding and generating.
I guess I never thought about it. You'd think if an AI can recognize, say, a cat in a picture, it could describe that cat too, right?
Yeah, that's what you'd think, but the level of detail needed is totally different.
Oh, I see. Like understanding might be, there's a cat, but generating needs all the specifics, like what color fur, how are the whiskers positioned, is it smiling, that kind of thing.
Exactly, and previous models, they just couldn't handle both those things at once.
So is that where this decoupled encoding in Janus comes in?
You got it. So Janus has like separate pathways, one for understanding, one for generating.
Kind of like different teams within a company.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Each team with its own like expertise and tools.
So instead of one AI trying to do everything, Janus has specialists.
Exactly, and that means neither pathway has to compromise. They're both optimized for their specific job.
And that leads to better performance overall.
You bet. In fact, the results are pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah. The paper mentioned some benchmarks, right?
Right. They tested Janus on things like MSOCO 30K and Genivol.
Hmm.
It consistently beats other unified models, even some that are way bigger.
Wow, so Janus isn't just a clever idea. It actually works really well.
This really does. It's super efficient.
Okay, I'm sold. But now I gotta know, how did they even train this thing?
Well, it's a three-stage process. First, they teach Janus to connect visuals and language, the basics.
Laying the groundwork, kinda.
Exactly. Then, stage 2, they do this unified pre-training.
Well, what's that?
It's like giving Janus a crash course in like all sorts of visual and textual info. They feed it images, text, captions, all kinds of stuff.
So it's like sending Janus to school.
Yeah. And then stage 3 is where they fine-tune it with instructions.
Like specific commands to make it really good at what it does.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Each stage is like crucial to getting Janus to work the way it does.
Okay, that makes sense. And then there's all this stuff about ablation studies in the paper.
Oh yeah, ablation studies. Sounds scary, right?
A little.
But they're actually pretty cool. They help us figure out what parts of Janus are really important.
How so?
Imagine you're like taking apart a machine to see which pieces are essential.
Okay, I kind of get it.
So they did all these experiments where they removed certain parts of Janus to see if it would still work as well.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. And they found out that the decoupled encoding, the separate pathways, that's what really makes the difference.
So they proved that it wasn't just some random thing. Decoupling is key to Janus's success.
Exactly. Without it, the performance wasn't nearly as good.
Okay, so these ablation studies really back up the whole idea behind Janus, huh?
Yeah, they give us a lot of confidence in the results.
This is all super interesting, but I have to admit, my brain is a little fried right now.
Well, we've covered a lot, but the really exciting part is what all of this means for the future of AI.
Okay, yeah, I can't wait to dig into that. But first, I think we need a little break to process everything.
Sounds good to me. We'll be back in a flash.
All right, we're back. My brain is still buzzing from all that talk about decoupled encoding.
It's pretty wild stuff, right?
It is. But what does it all actually mean, like, for the future of AI? What's the big takeaway here?
Well, Janus is kind of showing us a future where AI, interacts with information in a much deeper way.
Deeper how?
It's not just about recognizing things anymore. It's about understanding, like context, relationships, even emotions, maybe.
Whoa, okay, so instead of just labeling a picture like people at a party, Janus could actually tell what kind of party it is.
Exactly. Like, is it a birthday party, a wild bash, a fancy gala? And then it could generate an image that really captures that specific vibe.
That's kind of mind-blowing. It almost makes you wonder, like, can AI actually be creative?
That's a big question. We might need a whole other deep dive for that one.
Definitely. But speaking of pushing boundaries, the paper also hinted at some other crazy things Janus could do in the future.
Oh, yeah. Remember how we talked about it being multimodal?
Yeah, images and text.
Right. Well, the researchers think Janus's architecture is flexible enough to work with all sorts of data.
Wait, so not just images and text, like AI that can use other senses.
Exactly. Like, imagine AI that can feel textures through touch sensors or interpret brainwaves to understand emotion.
Emotions, that's straight out of sci-fi. But what could we even do with that kind of AI?
Think about healthcare. An AI that could combine medical images, patient records, and real-time biometrics.
Whoa, like a doctor with superpowers?
Pretty much. It could give way more accurate diagnoses, personalized treatment.
Okay, that's amazing. But doesn't that also sound like kind of risky, giving AI access to all that sensitive data?
That's a valid concern for sure. As AI gets more powerful, we got to be careful about the ethical implications.
So it's not just about the tech itself, it's how we use it.
Exactly. We need to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly. We need to have conversations about the potential risks and benefits, involve everyone.
Researchers, policymakers, ethicists, the public, the whole shebang.
Exactly. It's a collective responsibility.
Speaking of responsibility, let's circle back to Janus's efficiency. The paper made a big deal about how it outperforms other models.
Yeah, and that comes down to its design, those separate pathways for understanding and generating, remember?
Right, the decoupled encoding.
Yep. It's like no wasted effort. Each part of Janus is doing exactly what it's good at.
So it's not about brute force, it's about clever design.
Exactly. And the researchers, they're not stopping there. They're already thinking about how to make Janus even better.
Oh yeah. What are they working on?
Well, they want to improve the visual encoders, for one.
Like giving Janus better eyesight.
Exactly, so it can handle even more detailed images and videos. They also want to make the generation process faster and more realistic.
Wow, they're really pushing the limits of what AI can do.
They are. They're talking about applications in entertainment, design, scientific visualization.
Okay, wait, hold up. That all sounds amazing, but also kind of scary.
How so?
Well, think about it. AI that can create super realistic images and videos.
Yeah.
What's to stop someone from using that to make, like, fake news or deep fakes that are impossible to detect?
That's a huge concern. We definitely need safeguards. Things like ethical guidelines, educating people about how to spot fakes.
Well, we need both, like technical solutions and societal solutions.
Exactly. We got to be proactive about this stuff.
Definitely. Okay, before we go any further down this rabbit hole, I think it's time to reflect a bit.
Good idea. We've covered a lot.
We have. So, big picture time. What does the rise of AI like Janus really mean for humanity?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Yeah. At the end of the day, AI is a tool. It all depends on how we use it.
So we have a choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we're smart about it, if we use AI for good, it could help us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Okay, that's reassuring. Right. But let's get practical for a sec. What can our listeners actually do to prepare for this AI-powered future?
The most important thing is to stay informed. Learn about AI, how it works, what it can and can't do.
So do your research.
Exactly. There are tons of resources out there, and think critically about the information you come across.
Don't just believe everything you see online.
Right. The more you understand AI, the better you'll be able to navigate this new world.
Great advice. But before we send our listeners off on their AI learning journey, let's take a moment to, really let all this sink in.
Sounds good. It's a lot to process.
Okay, we're back, and honestly, this whole Janus thing has really got me thinking.
Me too. It's like opened up a whole world of possibilities, hasn't it?
It has. We started with this idea of decoupled encoding.
Yeah.
And now suddenly we're talking about AI that can understand emotions.
Right.
And process crazy amounts of data.
To create images that look like totally real.
It's a lot to take in. But as we wrap up this episode, I want to bring it back to you, the listener.
Yeah, good idea.
What does all this actually mean for you?
Yeah.
How can you prepare for a future where AI is, everywhere?
I get it. It can be overwhelming, right? All this AI stuff changing so fast.
Definitely.
But honestly, the best thing you can do is just be curious.
Okay, how do I do that?
Don't be afraid to learn about AI. You don't need to be a computer scientist or anything.
Yeah, that's not me.
There are so many resources out there, articles, videos, even online courses. They break down these complicated concepts into, normal language.
So take that first step. Dive in.
Exactly. The more you understand AI, the better
Better how?
you'll be able to have informed conversations about it, advocate for its responsible use.
So it's not just about, like, passively watching AI happen.
No way. It's about shaping the future of AI, making sure it benefits everyone.
I love that. AI isn't just happening to us. We're all a part of it.
We are. So use your voice. Talk to people about this stuff. Share your thoughts. Your perspective matters.
It does.
Hmm.
Okay, before we sign off, I want to leave you with one last question. Something to think about.
All right, hit me.
We talked about AI possibly developing new senses, right? Beyond just sight and language.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
So if you could pick one new sense for AI to develop, what would it be and why? How would that change the world?
Ooh, that's a good one. It really makes you think about all the possibilities, doesn't it?
It does. And that's what we're all about here, exploring those possibilities, even if they seem a little out there.
Exactly. The future of AI is still being written. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the one to invent that next big breakthrough.
Maybe. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of Janus and the future of AI.
It's been a blast.
We hope you learned something new and that you're leaving with a sense of wonder and excitement for what's to come.
Because the future of AI is bright. And with all of us working together, thinking critically, and staying curious, we can make sure it's a future that benefits all of humanity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time.